Hello again, everyone, and welcome to round number 5 of the Division 1 season, and it's taking place at the infamous Autodromo Enzo E. Dino Ferrari here in Imola. This 4.9-kilometer circuit features 19 corners with 9 of them to the right and 10 to the left. Only the one DRS zone, which makes up for most of the overtaking opportunities. Now, drivers will need to be especially on their game mentally tonight to avoid track limits penalties, collisions with other drivers, and especially their pit windows with this ridiculously long pit lane. And I tell you what, Imola, one of those tracks that doesn't necessarily provide the best overtaking possibilities. However, it is a track that really does demand the best and demand consistency and perfection from the drivers. It is a really mistake-heavy track, and that mistake can take you from a win down to a DNF. And I tell you what, so the race then starting in 30 seconds time. Let's give you a quick rundown on the tire strategy. So the soft tires will last you anywhere between 11 and 14 laps, mediums 14 to 18, and the hards will last you between 20 and 23. The tire strategy will make or break for drivers tonight, and it's loaded with crucial decision making. The default strategy says to box for hards around lap 12, but knowing that most drivers don't necessarily prefer the hards, you may see a different strategy. However, in this game, obviously you get the choice between the mediums and softs on the start. So, as the lights are turning on, we have 3, 4, and then 5. And they are off here in Imola. And it looks like Dace, having that starting grid spot on the outside, has gotten away quite well. Behind him, Scornsy and Ryan Rod side by side for the time being. Scornsy's going to want to go down the inside into Tamarello chicane. Does he get it? No, he doesn't. Jose Miguel has gone off. That is a big incident towards the back of the Mercedes of GSR. Edwin has gone off as well. Majacco going up to 4th. Off towards the back. Aero Racing Design has done a wrong in there, and the safety car out on track early. So Smith Pell, did he even get off the line? That was quite interesting then, as, his front wing is gone. That incident must have happened quite a while ago. Dace does hold on to the lead off the start. That's good for him. A look on who's on what tire. It looks like Impossible Bacon, the only driver choosing to be on the softs. Only 3 others being on the hards, that being Kitten Petter, Mitch Burns, and Smith Pell. Tiger NASCAR and Edwin looking to apparently trade positions back there under the safety car. Interesting start there. It looked like everybody had gotten away clean. Scornsy managed to somehow make that move happen down to the inside into the Tamarello corner. Very, very nice from him. And now as the safety car comes out, I will step aside. So the safety car will be in this lap as the field makes their way through the Alta chicane here. We're entering the 5th lap of the Grand Prix then. While you were away, we had 4 cars pit under the safety car, that being GSR Edwin, Tiger NASCAR, Mitch Burns, and Smith Pell. Now, Tiger NASCAR had a puncture during that stretch. He had to go thankfully, he didn't have to go long. He was under safety car as well, but the rest of them did make wing changes. So, as it stands now, Dace has the lead. Scornsy 2nd, Ryan Rod's 3rd, Majacco 4th. Man, is that a power-packed podium fight then. That is absolutely incredible then. Dace will be leading the field back to green flag here. Scornsy going to be looking for the jump here. Doesn't quite get it as the field heads back to green. It looks like Dace has got away well. GSR Ryan Rod's hot on the heels of Scornsy then. Can he perhaps find a move to be made here? Using his battery, only having a little bit of a niblet of a look then. And he doesn't quite have enough in the tank to make that move happen as the field winds their way through the Tamarello chicane. Dace still on top. Ooh, Scornsy has gone a bit wide then. Does that open the door for Ryan Rods? He's definitely going to be looking for it here into the Villeneuve chicane, but it doesn't make it happen. Oh, Murfancelli's gone off. What has happened there? And he's done it on exit. That is on exit of the Tamarello chicane, and please tell me we do not have another safety car coming out on track. It doesn't quite look like we will for this moment in time. Thankfully, it does look like, Kate Thomas has had an off then, and he has spun out, or has had something happen to him, well, he's fallen down quite significantly, but for why? As he got wing damage, doesn't quite look like he has. Interesting there. Maybe he's just taking a quick spin. Sometimes that does happen. Dace has the lead. Scornsy in 2nd, Ryan Rod's 3rd. Majacco not far behind in 4th. He's looking to press on for this podium spot as well. And it does look as if Ryan Rod's obviously got beat into turn number 2 then, going into Tamarello by Scornsy. He had that inside line, and he did it well. Now, Dace had, obviously, the great start off the line, that being because the left-hand grid slots kind of around that little bend right there on the grid, as Dace sets the fastest lap of Scornsy in right behind. So, Dace was able to get away quite well then, and was able to make that advantage count. He hasn't looked back since. However, Scornsy hot on his heels, 0.2 of a second behind as Mitch Burns making his way in. Murfancelli leaving the session then. Gee, I wonder what happened to Murfancelli. Maybe it was just driver error that resulted in that accident then. Must have. Scorsese a little bit slow that time, it seemed, through the Villeneuve chicane. Into Toza they go. It looks like Edwin and Jay Cass battling it out here. Looks like the Mercedes was able to get around the Haas quite nicely. Kate Thomas, he's looking to make moves on Tiger NASCAR, perhaps. Nothing, no serious attempt, I'm afraid, at the moment, although it looks like Aero Racing Design, he's within a couple tenths here on KD35. This one should be interesting here. Aero Racing Design, mind you, did not have a very good start. He dropped down, I think maybe it was to perhaps avoid accident there, because he did start about 4th. And suddenly he found himself down the order, and we saw him in the gravel off on that first lap on the outside of the Tamburello chicane. Maybe perhaps it was to avoid accident there. Very much could have been. Sometimes that's what you need to do, sacrifice track position to even stay in the race. That is quite the phenomena there. Lane C back to Impossible Bacon. That's only a couple tenths now, but the battle for the lead. It's 4/10 of a second between Scorsese and Dace. Very close here. Dace does set the fastest lap, however, but Scorsese not far behind. Can he perhaps find a move here? DRS will be enabled this lap. It doesn't have anything quite yet. Still hunting down Dace, waiting for him to make that mistake, and that is obviously sometimes the difference between a good driver and a great driver is forcing the drivers in front of you to make mistakes. And it is as well as the great drivers that do not get fazed by these incredible drivers behind them. Dace is going to have to defend here very shortly, as he's got Scorsese in close behind. Once DRS gets into play, that will definitely be Scorsese's position to have, unless Ryan Rods can perhaps slow down the proceedings here and maybe get in on the action himself. It's going to be very tough to see. Impossible Bacon, he's within a couple tenths now on Majacco, this being for the 4th spot. Majacco starting to fall off a little bit, a second and a half now, back to GSR Ryan Rods for the 3rd spot. And now Scorsese was looking for Dace just then. I missed it. Dace must have had a slip there, because Scorsese was very much within striking distance, within a tenth it seemed. Now outside of 3/10, but he's coming back. Can he make the move down to Rivazza? I would assume he's not going to make the move now. Maybe perhaps he'll have a look. He's going to let Dace break into the corner. Scorsese's going to be right there in position for the overtake to be made. Exit of turn 18 they go. Through turn 19, DRS open then for the Alpine. GSR Ryan Rods does, however, set the fastest lap. This could be, very shortly, a 3-car battle for the lead. Scorsese looking around the right side. Can he find it in time? And it looks like he will. Nicely done then from Scorsese to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Impossible Bacon then, it looks like, got around Majacco. That looked to be a great move. Majacco trying to strike back. Didn't quite make it happen. And Impossible Bacon has taken that spot. It looks like the two McLarens in a Aston Martin sandwich here, as it turns out. Smith, Pell, and J. Cass battling it out back there as they make their way through Tamburello chicane. Lancey right there looking to get around his teammate of El Majacco. Remember, these guys are perhaps teammates. Oh, as Aero Racing Design to the inside then of KD35. Nothing quite happened then. It looked like perhaps a move was going to be made, but Aero Racing Design, I guess, didn't get the good launch out of Toza there. And he wasn't able to make that happen. Meanwhile, Scorsese starting to amount to a lead here over Dace, about 0.8 of a second. So, I'd say that second place spot of Dace is very much in jeopardy here. He's got GSR Ryan Rods right behind, and Dace picking up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Unfortunate for him. That will move him at this point down. Well, you know, I tell you what, he might keep the podium at the moment. Still, obviously, a lot of race left to go. However, that is a 3-second gap back from GSR Ryan Rods to Impossible Bacon for that 3rd spot. A little bit further back now, Scorsese is setting the fastest lap. Can Ryan Rods make a move around Dace? Wow, look at the run he's got. Using the battery as well. Down to the inside, into the grass he goes. Just for fun, I think. He's made that move happen as well, and now the battle for the lead is on. A little bit further back, Aero Racing Design, I believe he did get around KD35 just then. Yes, he did. Very nicely done then from the Williams driver. KD35, he still is in hot pursuit, however. He's not going to be giving that up anytime soon. Meanwhile, he's got Killer XL right in hot pursuit as well. Nice little train of cars this is, going from Impossible Bacon on back to Killer XL. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, all right in this. I think the real trouble now is Lancey. Can he potentially get around his teammate of Majacco? I tell you what, it certainly seemed like Lancey, prior to that mistake then, definitely seemed like he had the pace advantage over his teammate. Scavney going to try it around the outside, going into Aqua Minerale. I tell you what, I'm glad he backed out of that maneuver. That was only going to end poorly. El Majacco here, he's within a couple of tenths on Impossible Bacon. Can he make the move happen? It looks like he's going to have to wait perhaps until DRS. There's not really any overtaking spots through the Sector 3 of the track. It looks like from Ryan Rods to Scorsese, it's only 0.7 of a second. Do we see the lead change happening now? Scorsese, mind you, isn't going to have DRS. We're still a little bit far away from the pit window. Remember, the medium tires will go between laps 8 and 14. So within the next 4 laps, we will begin to see pit stops. And speaking of pit stops, in comes Impossible Bacon. He did, however, start on the soft, so that was to be expected. Here comes Killer XL around the left side of KD35, and that move was made quite easy then, I'm afraid. Nicely done then from the Alfa Romeo. However, he's going to have a lot of work to do to keep that spot. Racing Design not that far off from the Aston Martin of Scavney. Can he perhaps find a move to be made? KD35 not that far off Killer XL either, this being for the 8th spot, mind you. Close quarters indeed, a little bit further back. Jonathan Dunk's within a couple tenths of Cake Thomas here. Cake Thomas actually within a couple of tenths of Jonathan Dunk. Jonathan Dunk down to the inside on GSR Edwin. Can he make that move happen? And he does. Oh, and he's going to get overtaken twice. Cake Thomas swooping in on by as well. So GSR Edwin losing 2 spots within that corner then. And surely perhaps more to come as he's got Tiger NASCAR in behind him as well. But yeah, look at this. Something is not going well for GSR Edwin then. He's lost 2 positions in the span of a corner, and he might lose 3 here once Tiger NASCAR gets on the throttle. Very close indeed. A little bit further up. Cake Thomas, can he perhaps find a way around Jonathan Dunk? He may, but not now. Meanwhile, battle once again for the 2nd spot. GSR Ryan Rod's right behind. Can he perhaps find a move to be made? It doesn't quite look like he will. No, it doesn't look like that time is now. Meanwhile, the McLaren of Lancey round the outside of his teammate Elma Jacko. Can he find it? Side by side, the 2 McLarens, and Lancey does get around his teammate finally. Now, I was waiting for that move to be made because it definitely seemed like Lancey had the speed advantage there between the 2 teammates. A little bit further back, GSR Edwin on Cake Thomas on Jonathan Dunk here. Looks like at the moment this is being held quite nicely then. Cake Thomas starting towards the back of Jonathan Dunk here. Remember, Cake Thomas didn't seem to have a good qualifying result nor a good beginning to his race so far. He'll be looking to bounce back. Killer XL's within a couple tenths here on Aero Racing Design. Some beautiful close racing this is. However, I would like to see a smidge more overtaking. Perhaps we'll be getting that shortly. It does look like the clouds are starting to form here in Imola. Not quite sure. I mean, it didn't look like rain was forecasted. However, I mean, certainly looks rainable conditions this. Elma Jacko within 3 tenths on his teammates. Can he perhaps find the position? We will find out shortly. Meanwhile, it is GSR Ryan Rods once again trying to get to the back of Scornsey. It's 4 tenths of a second the gap. Can he find a move on the Alpine for the lead? Is he going to look for it here? Does he have enough space? He's going to look around the outside. Does he have the position? It's side by side now through Tamburello chicane, and GSR Ryan Rod's making that move happen. That was brilliant there. Scornsey, however, still in hot pursuit. He's going to look to strike back. I'm afraid he's going to have to wait for DRS to be in his favor. That was such a great move then from Ryan Rods. Testicular fortitude there to make that move into turn 1. I keep saying turn 1. Tamburello chicane. It's not really turn 1. It's actually listed as turns 2, 3, and 4. Look at me and my properness of knowing my corners. Anyways, GSR Edwin now within a few tenths then on Kitten Petter. Kitten Petter within a few tenths on Tiger NASCAR. Much of the field now within close quarters. That's nice to see. We can take a look at far back to the leader. Positions 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All very close together. Aero Racing Design and Killer XL in on this as well. It looks like Killer XL starting to fall off perhaps a little bit. Not necessarily what he needed, I'm sure. It looks like up the field, Scavney. Can he find a way around Elma Jacko? Perhaps. Meanwhile, GSR Ryan Rods under pressure now from Scornsey. DRS will be open here shortly. Although I'm not quite sure that move, he's got enough room to make that move happen. Still 7 tenths of a second back. The DRS is helpful, however. You can see here, look how much battery is being used in between the 2 cars. GSR Ryan Rod sitting at 46. Scornsey only sitting at 20, as Kitten Petter's had a bit of an off then, it seems. This still train of cars weaving their way through the circuit now. Scavney still within a couple tenths then on Elma Jacko in front of him. And look at that, that's a mistake there by Jacko. Can Scavney take it down the inside? No, he doesn't. Jacko actually covers off the move nicely. Round the outside then looks Aero Racing Design. Contact being made wheel to wheel then, and exit of Toza. Can he find the move? Still side by side, heading towards Piratella. Still side by side then. Can he find it? Still side by side then, and finally Aero Racing Design, I guess for now, has made that move happen. Beautiful racing then between the 2. As we look a little bit further up the grid, Scornsy now within 0.4 of a second. Back within that slipstream, perhaps, of Ryan Rods ahead. Can he find this position? He's definitely going to be looking for it here. DRS open now. Remember, it is going to be a game of cat and mouse between these two on when to pit and when not to pit. DRS open for the Alpine. Can he find the move on the Mercedes? Oh, he's going to have a look here. He's going to look around the outside. Into the grass he goes. Well, that doesn't end well when you got a Mercedes to the inside. George Russell found that out for sure. Over the curbs then he goes, and Ryan Rod's going to have the move back around the right side. It was a mistake then from Scornsy, and Ryan Rods was able to capitalize right back, and he's retaken the lead of the Grand Prix. Yellow flag then. It looks like the Haas of Jay Cast has gone around back there. But man, oh man, great battling here for the lead. Scornsy had the position going into the turn, but he went deep across the curb, and Ryan Rods was able to switch back and take it once again on exit of turn 4. Nicely done from the Mercedes driver. A little bit further back, Aero Racing Design. He's within a couple of tenths on El Majaco. I gotta say, all of these drivers, it's almost like NASCAR at this point. They do not want to exit this slipstream because they're all towed onto the back of each other. They're all tied in to this slipstream train that they have. Once a driver steps out of line, it breaks them off, and then the train continues forward, but they fall back. Very true phenomenon, this. And who says NASCAR and F1 are so unalike from each other? Well, I mean, they are, but not the point. Anyways, once again, Scornsy, he is within just a couple of tenths on Ryan Rods. Within 6. Can we go back along with him? Again, I don't necessarily think that move will be made anytime soon. However, speaking of moves being made, Aero Racing Design and KD35 on their way into the pits. KD35, how fast does this stop go? It could be better. Aero Racing Design into the pit window for him. He does it well. Back along with Scornsy here. 5/10 of a second roughly. Dace is actually, I wouldn't say closing in, but he's not really falling off either, hovering about that 2-second mark. Scavney within 3/10 on Jacko. Now suddenly a 3-car battle this instead of about 5. Scornsy within 4/10 on Ryan Rods. Let's see perhaps Impossible Bacon and KD35 side by side there heading into Toza. Still nothing in it then between these two. Ooh, big wiggle for Jacko then. This might be the opportunity for Scavney. Does he have it? Will he have it? Oh, I'm not quite sure. Back along with Scornsy here momentarily. And into the pits goes Ryan Rods. Let's just go ahead and time this pit window. Into the pits he goes. Stop being completed. Tires coming on, leaving the pit box then. I've just got the running timer quickly on it from time in to time out. Let's see what he's got. When does he hit the marker? 6, 27, 28, 29, and finally on the throttle it's a 30-second stop for GSR Ryan Rods from entry to pit to exit. Killer XL, he's moved up to 4th. Still battling Scavney here for the 3rd spot. El Majaco was on his way in. Anyone else choosing to come in? It looks like the Haas of J-Cast. Killer XL. Oh, big incident then. Killer XL has spun the car. Thankfully, he hasn't DNF'd then. However, oh, and the safety car is coming out. So Killer XL took a spun then, coming out of Piratella, and the safety car out on track for a buildup of debris. That has thrown a huge wrench into the plans of many of the drivers, especially being halfway through the Grand Prix now. Scornsy, as you could guess, on his way into the pits. Where will he come out? Remember, it's about a 30-second pit window here. Into the box he goes. Just a tick under a 3-second stop then. Lancey into the box. Scavney coming in now. Oh, he's had to wait for the McLaren to get out there. .86 then from Scavney. Tiger NASCAR on his way in. 2.6. Oh, very close then. Oh, the Alfa Romeos are going for a double stack. That's neat. As they replace the front wing on Killer XL, Smith Pell, all he can do is sit there and watch as his teammate gets work done to his car. And he will drop back significantly, as now another train of 3 or 4 drivers coming up behind. So, Scornsey has the lead of the Grand Prix. It is Ryan Rods in second, Lancey in third, Scavney fourth, Dace for now in fifth, although he does have the penalty. And now we will step aside. So the safety car will be in this lap, and we've had ourselves just a fresh round of pit stops. So, as it turns out, 18 of 32 through this Imola Grand Prix here. Let's look and see how our drivers are doing. Scornsey up 2 spots into the beginning. Lancey up 3, Scavney up 5. Jonathan Dunk up 10. Biggest mover in the positive direction, biggest mover in the negative direction, however, is GSR Edwin down 11. But anyways, it is Scornsey up to bat here. Let's see, can he lead the field? Back to green flag here. He's got Lancey in behind. He's got GSR Ryan Rods in behind him. Well, Lancey's going to have a great jump here on Ryan Rods. He's going to look for it down to the inside. Yellow flag's already, perhaps. To the inside, there goes Lancey in the McLaren. Does he perhaps have a move on the Mercedes of Ryan Rods? No, he doesn't. I think he had a look for it, but nothing came to fruition then. Dace and Majako battling it out there. They were side by side temporarily. Majako looks like he's had a bit of a trip through the gravel quite recently. Dace has gone quite off then, and Majako down to the inside, heading into the Villeneuve chicane. Do they make it stick? It's side by side, wheel to wheel. No, and they've collided, and Dace and Majako have gone off. No, and somehow, I mean, neither drivers hit the wall, which is a good thing. However, man, oh man, that is very unlucky there for both drivers, who Jacko in a very good position in the race then, and that has very gone awry for him, and much to the chagrin of both Jacko, Dace, and myself. Unfortunately, you're just not able to take it side by side through there. Meanwhile, the top 4 cars all within a couple seconds of each other. Yellow flag off towards the top of the hill. Who's done that? There's a yellow flag back there. Who is it? I'm not quite sure. It looks like it is the Mercedes of GSR Edwin, who's had a little bit of an off. Oh, he's the back marker. He's getting out of the way. Never mind then. 0.3 of a second separate Kit and Petter and Killer XL. But more importantly for the lead, it is these 4 drivers in close pursuit here. GSR Ryan Rods won't have DRS yet, not until at least the lap after this. Scavney following behind the footsteps of the McLaren. 0.3 of a second from Impossible Bacon to Aero Racing Design. KD 35 within a few tenths on his teammate of Kate Thomas here, this being for the 7th spot. Killer XL in close behind them as well. Look and see most drivers on the hard tire now. Kit and Petter on the mediums. Smith Pell and Mitch Burns all on the mediums then. 5-second penalties for Smith Pell Edwin. And Dace has a 3-second in his own right. KD 35 really kind of looking for a move around his teammate here, but nothing happening just yet. Impossible Bacon, he's within 5/10 on Aero Racing Design still. Scavney, quite close here to Lancey. As Ryan Rod's starting to, I'd say, fall back a little bit perhaps on the Alpine in front of him. That gap now up to 0.9 of a second as we're closing in within the final 10 laps of the Grand Prix. DRS will not be open yet, I don't think. 0.2 of a second then, the Red Bull teammates, Katie and Kate Thomas. Who finds themselves an overtake first? It looks like DRS will be enabled. 0.3 of a second here. Does KD have anything to get past his teammate? It doesn't quite look like he does. Kate Thomas has got too much power under the Red Bull engine cover, as it turns out. KD 35, a very quick driver in his own right, but his teammate has matched him for pace at the moment. Possible Bacon within 0.5 on Aero Racing Design still. Aero Racing Design has actually fallen back a considerable amount, back to Scavney. Now 2.5 seconds, nearly 3 a moment ago. Scavney within a couple of tenths of Lancey here in the McLaren ahead of him. 2.5 from Lancey to Ryan Rods. Speaking of Ryan Rods, he's about 0.8 back of Scornsey, waiting for that mistake to be made. This doesn't look like it's coming. It does not look like that mistake is going to be made anytime soon. Can perhaps Ryan Rods find anything with DRS here? Now this is that section of track where Scornsey was able to reel in Ryan Rods and vice versa. the moves that they would make, they would eventually make into turn 1 would be starting in this section of the track. Now it's 0.6 of a second. Does Ryan Rodds have anything here? I don't think he's close enough yet to make that maneuver. Doesn't quite look like he is. He's choosing not to use battery either. He'll reel in the Alpine by a couple of tenths, but nothing to get him in place for an overtake. KD35 here. We actually have Kitten Petter and Killer XL in close pursuit of this one as well. Smith Pell getting around El Majacco then. Smith Pell on the 5-second penalty, I believe, for a severe collision with someone. Oh, that's a car that's gone off, and it's KD35. Now, he's gone off into the dirt then. I'm not quite sure what's happened with him. But he's had a quick trip through the grass, and he's back out on track. He's got Majacco behind, who he suddenly interrupted this battle. As, Smith Pell is, or Killer XL has gone quite off then, letting Smith Pell go by. Interesting this. Maybe it's Killer XL going to play good teammate here and try to defend the position. Back to KD35 perhaps. Oh, KD's going to go for it down into Aqua Minerale. Holy crap, what a move that was. And Majacco is there as well. And somehow Killer XL has lost 2 positions in the most difficult part of the track to overtake. Oh, well, he's got a broken front wing. I didn't see that before. Well, anyway, he's got a broken front wing, but goodness gracious. To the naked eye, that looked an absolutely ballsy move then by both of those drivers, but as it turns out, they got in around a broken car. But anyways, not the point. DRS open then for Cake Thomas on Impossible Bacon. Kitten Petter on Cake Thomas in front of him. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead within a few tenths here, but still nothing yet to make this battle happen. We are within the last 10 laps. 10 laps to go here in Imola. Cake Thomas, can he find anything to Impossible Bacon? It just doesn't look like he can. Super quick driver, but just does he have enough? Scavney, still looking for it on Lancey here. GSR Ryan Rodds within 4/10 on Scornsey. The battle for the lead. Remind you once again that Scornsey's got quite the advantage in the championship, almost 100 points after Ryan Rodds' DNF last week in Monaco. This would be a great way for Ryan Rodds to bounce back if he's able to take the win this time out. Unfortunately for him, he's got the quickest driver in Midwest F1 history right in front of him. Yes, I said that, and I'm sticking by that as well. Kitten Petter, can he find a move past Cake Thomas? I think a couple tenths here. GSR Edwards picked up 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Battle for the lead. Gee, that's not even really closing, is it? Still hanging about 7/10 then. Kitten Petter, can he find anything around Cake Thomas here? He's going to look for it. He's going to have a look to the right side. And around he goes. He does have those fresh medium tires as well. Those will be quicker than the hards. Nicely done then from Kitten Petter. That'll put him up to the 7th spot, which I believe will be a Division 1 best for Kitten Petter. Well done to him if he makes it happen. Cake Thomas, however, within 2/10. Ooh, Cake Thomas braking a little late there. Maybe had a look to the inside of Kitten Petter, maybe to try to close the gap a little bit, but to no avail. KD35 within a few tenths here of Jacko. These two drivers super quick. Not afraid to defend or try to take a position either. That'll be a fun one to watch, I'm sure. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead still in excess of 7/10 of a second. There's simply not enough DRS on that front little bit there going towards the Tamburello chicane for an overtake to work. I'd say you have to be really within 6/10 to be even somewhat close. And yeah, as you can see here, he's not even really gaining anything. Well, then he's not using his battery either, so he's clearly in no hurry to make that position happen. Kitten Petter now. Can he find his way past Impossible Bacon for the 6th spot? And he's definitely looking for it, and he's got it. Nicely done then from Kitten Petter. He's putting on a show. Meanwhile, up ahead, Scavney still within 4/10 on Lancey in front of him. Seems like the Aston Martin versus McLaren battles have been all over the place today. Impossible Bacon, he's still looking to get past Kitten Petter here. Will Kitten Petter be able to hold on to this position? He's done a great job so far. Given he is on medium tires, those will wear off quicker. 8-lap-old mediums as well. So, within the next 6 laps or so, they will be at the peak. Killer XL, fastest lap for him. 1:17.7. It looks like GSR Ryan Rod's 4 now. Simply doesn't have anything for Scornsy. Now he's starting to use his battery again. This is what he's trying to do. He's trying to set it up before the DRS section. He's trying to close that gap as much as he can in order to make that move happen. But now he's within 6/10. He might actually have a fair chance here. Battery being used. Scornsy doing everything he can to hold on to it. GSR Ryan Rod's in pursuit. Can he find his way around the right side? Is he going to have enough time to make the move happen? It's going to be side by side into the Tamburello chicane. Contact being made over the curbs goes Ryan Rod. Scornsy having to go wide to avoid. Ryan Rod's now back down to the inside as they head towards the Villeneuve chicane. It's side by side between the two at the top of the championship standings. And Ryan Rod's around the outside gets it done on Scornsy. Beautiful move then. Absolute testicular fortitude from Ryan Rod's to make that move happen. In two of the toughest places to overtake on the track as well. However, Scornsy's not out of it. He's only 0.5 of a second behind. This battle for the lead is not over yet. So, Scornsy, I'd have to say, has been pretty much mistake-free all day. Oh, did Ryan Rod's get a poor exit to the corner there? It kind of seemed like he did. Went way to the inside of the track. I'm not quite sure what's happened then. Scornsy within 0.5 here. On the exit of turn 18, he will have DRS. He has battery as well. Ryan Rod's using his. Scornsy using his. About even Stevens on the battery life then between the two. Can Scornsy find his way to Ryan Rod's here? He's going to be running out of time very, very shortly. He might have to look for it. He's going to look down to the inside. Is he going to have it? Side by side in the braking zone. No, Scornsy does decide to back out. Scavney now within 1/10 on Lancey. Does he have it? No, he doesn't. Tiger NASCAR looking for it on KD35 here. Those were side by side momentarily. Tiger NASCAR around the right side makes that move happen. Nicely done. Meanwhile, it looks like Kittenpetter's actually separated himself from Impossible Bacon. That gap now 1.5 seconds. Kittenpetter really coming to life here. Hopefully he can hold on to it. KD35 in hot pursuit of Tiger NASCAR here, who, by the way, Tiger NASCAR's got Majacco in front of him. Down the hill into Aqua Minerale they go. The Alpha Tauri in close pursuit of KD. It looks like KD's had a trip through the gravel recently. I'm not quite sure what's happened there with Red Bull, but he does have quite the gravel markings on then. Battle for the lead now, 0.4 of a second. Meanwhile, Scavney looking to put the move on Lancey here in a minute. Can Scornsy find the move now? Once again, he's running out of time, running out of real estate, with only 5 laps to go. Down to the inside he looks. Is he going to get the position before they get to the corner? Over the curbing then goes Ryan Rod's. Potentially contact being made there. Scornsy was not able to get that position. Can Scavney find it round the outside then of Lancey for the 3rd spot? Side by side then heading towards the Villeneuve chicane. And Scavney's going to have to back out of it then. Smart driving then from the Aston Martin. Does he have a chance here? Now into Toza. Side by side. Does he have it on the inside? It doesn't look like he does. No, Lancey's gotten much better traction on the outside groove, and he's made that happen. Nicely done. Scornsy, mind you, starting to run out of time here. 4.5 laps to go here. Making his way now up to the Alta chicane. That's where we saw Ryan Rod's have a hiccup last time. Does Scornsy hold it together? Will he be able to strike back for the lead? Still looking for it here. Within TRS range. It's 0.4 of a second the gap. Scornsy on the battery with it down to his last 10%. Oh, we've got a yellow flag off towards the back. It looks like the Ferrari of Dace has done it in then. Scornsy round the right-hand side. Does he have it? This is, I would assume, the preferred line of the quarter. It's still side by side then. And Ryan Rod's once again able to defend the position and hold off yet another overtake attempt by the Alpine of Scornsy. 4 laps to go now, and it's getting heated. Very, very close calls there indeed. having a Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen-esque battle. These two drivers, and they've had these battles many times before. Two rivals, great competitors in their own rights, both very, very quick. Scornsy might be ahead. Ryan Rods might be ahead here in the race, but Scornsy, at the end of the day, still will be ahead in the championship standings. Once again, within half a second on Ryan Rods ahead of him. Getting to the last 3 laps to go of the race. A little further back, it looks like Kate Thomas. Oh, Katie 35 picked up 5 seconds for multiple warnings then. 3 seconds, rather. DRS open then, 3 laps to go. Can Scornsy find anything to GSR Ryan Rods here? He's going to have a look. Which side of the track does he choose this time? He's going to choose the inside. And no, he doesn't take it. Scornsy playing it calm here. Like I say, the only mistake that Scornsy's really making is, I'd say, not committing to making these overtakes happen. With Ryan Rods, when he's overtaken Scornsy, you could tell that he was going to make that move from a mile away. And Scornsy has not been able to commit to making that move happen. Probably he just wants to keep the race clean, I understand that, but at some point you're going to need to make a move for the win. Yellow flag towards the back. That is the Red Bull of Katie 35 that's gone around then. Little quick spin for him, right in the way of the Mercedes, and somehow he gets out of the way in time. Looks like Tiger NASCAR and El Majacco battling it out then. Jacko, I believe, getting around Tiger NASCAR then. Once again, the battle for the lead within 0.6 of... Oh, big wiggle then for Jacko. Tiger NASCAR having to slam on the brakes in order to avoid. 2 laps to go. This time by Scornsy, running out of time here. If I were him, I would be saving up that battery this lap. Ryan Rods is thinking exactly like that. He's up to 20% now. Scornsy, does he have the move this time? Into the Tamburello chicane. He's down to the inside. Does he have it? Contact made. Ryan Rods off to the inside of the track, and Scornsy has taken the lead. And I think Scornsy, at the end of the day, will do the right thing and let Ryan Rods have that position back. Great sportsmanship then from Scornsy. I wouldn't necessarily say that he did anything wrong. I think, yeah, he maybe did go into the corner a bit deep then, but he's done the right thing and let Ryan Rods have the spot back. Aero Racing Design within a couple tenths on Scavney. Scavney within 4 tenths on Lancey. Very close battle here for the final podium position. Once again, these drivers will have to do something if they want their shot. Scornsy had a chance there. Into the second corner, into the Tamburello chicane. Made his opportunity. I think he kind of went into the corner at a poor angle, and that's kind of what led to that maneuver. Hit Ryan Rods out of the way, probably by his own error. Going quite wide then is the Aston Martin of Scavney. But final lap of the Grand Prix here starting shortly. Does Ryan Rods have any damage on that left-hand side? Very hard to tell. 0.6 of a second. Does Scornsy have an opportunity of an overtake here? Look at the battery, it's all the way down. Ryan Rods, same goes for him. And it looks like at this moment in time, Scornsy does not have a fight back here at Ryan Rods. Final lap of the Grand Prix. Does Scavney have a move on Lancey here for the 3rd spot? He's going to have a look, perhaps. Down to the inside he goes, using the battery, side by side, towards the Villeneuve chicane. He's got the inside line. Does it? Does the battle happen? He's still there. Contact being made, the McLaren forcing him off track. Racing Design through the middle! And I tell you what, Aero Racing Design almost made that move pay off. Goodness gracious, then Scavney and Lancey were side by side going through the Villeneuve chicane. And on exit, Scavney had gone off track. Aero Racing Design shot the gap through the middle and almost took both of them into Toza. That would have been mega. And it looks like now Aero Racing Design is going to take that 4th spot. Lancey has done a hell of a lot of defending, and he might come home with 3rd. But, more importantly, bouncing back after his DNF last week, GSR Ryan Rods rounding turns 18 and then eventually 19. It will be GSR Ryan Rods taking the win here in Imola, followed by Scornsy right behind a half second. Lancey, can he come home in 3rd? Yes, it does look like he will. Lancey in 3rd for McLaren, Aero Racing Design 4th, and Scavney will finish 5th. Kittenpetter, what a day it's been for him. He finishes 6th in the AlphaTauri, Impossible Bacon a second and 2/10 behind. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at the end of the day, it is Ryan Rodds taking home the win. Scornsey second, Lancey in third, his first ever Div 1 podium. Congratulations to him. Aero Racing Design in fourth, Scavney fifth, Kittenpetter, great result for him, taking home sixth and driver of the day. Seventh, Impossible Bacon, eighth is Cake Thomas, ninth is Jacko, 10th Smith Pell, 11th Smith Mitch Burns, 12th Tiger NASCAR, 13th Dace, 14th Jonathan Dunk, 15th is JCast, 16th Katie 35, 17th Killer XL, GSR Edwin finishing in 18th. And then, unfortunately for EDA Murphy and Jose Miguel, they did not finish the Imola Grand Prix. Well, it was an absolutely amazing race today, and it will get even better when next week the league heads to Spa. It's going to be a very exciting and entertaining race next time out when we head to Belgium. Thank you for joining us. It's been Hotspot on the call, and we will see you next week.